So this week's video is brought to you by a comment I got by Rick. And Rick asked me, in not so many words, it was a lot of words actually, very long comment that I read and responded to, and this entire video is basically an audiobook version of my comment that I responded with. But ultimately he asked, do I think All Stars was created for Chad Michaels to win because he should have won season 4 and he didn't win it because, you know, the fans were very intense when it came to Sharon Needles? To me, it's not as simple as that. It's not as simple as Chad deserved it, but Sharon's fans were the reason she didn't win. All Stars was announced halfway through season 4, and it had this Facebook voting system of all 45 queens at the time from the first 4 seasons of Drag Race, obviously. And the top voted queen was a queen guaranteed to be on the show. Of course, Sharon had a big following at the time, and since she was current and viewers were still watching her, she had a big vote for her. But there was one queen that outmatched her, and that was Pandora Boxx at the time, because she had an enormous following and she was one of the most liked queens. People really thought she should have done better on her season because she didn't win a single challenge, but she did excellent in a majority of them. And Sharon for the time was in second place behind Pandora. And when you think about it, it makes sense because many of the fans on Facebook were fans of the past 4 seasons because they were a bit older, you know, they saw the first 4 seasons, while the new kids that just got into Drag Race for the first time on season 4, which was a lot of people, those people were mainly on Twitter and Tumblr than they were on Facebook. And also, it's also fair to take into account at the beginning of the voting, Sharon was not the focus of the show. You know, we had the Fifi versus Sharon Party City fight, but ultimately, since then, there were not a lot of words exchanged between them. It was more like Willam versus Fifi than it was, you know, any other queens. So they were kind of the ones going at it at the time of the show airing. And then we have Willam's elimination. She went hard on Willam, and of course, Untucked is right after the episode. An episode that completely shocked everybody when Willam was disqualified, and we saw Willam in a more vulnerable place than we had before. So people really hated Fifi O'Hara at this point. But in our heads, it didn't equal hating Fifi would equal appreciation and love for Sharon. Those things were not connected at that time yet, like they were at the end of the season. So for a couple episodes, it was pretty fine. And like ultimately, Fifi actually won some fans over through the course of the show because of her daddy makeover. You know, people really liked the way Fifi did and how well she did and what that challenge meant to her. People got won over by Fifi at that point, but then we had the top 4 Untucked, which is the biggest fight between Fifi and Sharon. You know, that's the challenge they did the lip sync parody in season 5 of. Like, they were going at it forever, like for the entirety of the Untucked. I think, was that the Untucked where Dita Von Teese was there? I think it was. Actually, I need to look this shit up. I need to make sure that it is. It fucking is. I looked it up. That's one of the best moments is when Dita Von Teese is in the fucking gold room and she's like, those are fake lemons. It's one of my favorite fucking it's one of the best moments of the show because it pissed me off at the time because I'm like, y'all bitches couldn't stop shouting at each other for 5 minutes to talk to Dita Von Teese. And I was like, how fucking dare you? Where were we? What planet are we on? Right. But we had that Fifi Sharon fight, and that kind of sealed the deal when it came to, like I said, the hate for Fifi equals love for Sharon. And that put Sharon on top. And this reflected in the voting because she got first place over Pandora Boxx. And throughout this entire time, I was looking at Chad's because I was there, and Chad didn't have that many votes. For a bit, I was confused. I was like, why not? Like, why is she not getting the numbers that, you know, people on her season are getting? She's great and talented. Why wouldn't people want to see her again? But I looked at the numbers for the other girls. The numbers she was getting were more close to past winners, and it seemed to me that people assumed Chad would win, and they did not want someone that won back on the show again because, you know, that wouldn't be fair in their opinion. So for many fans, Chad had already won and they didn't vote for him or speak much about him on social media because they were busy kind of bringing Sharon up to have a second chance on All Stars. But then we had the twist on the top 3 where no one was going to be crowned on the main stage in front of the judges panel. We were just going to have a live stage show, and Rue asked the fans about who they thought should be crowned. Of course, like I said, Sharon, biggest following. Fifi had the biggest smear campaign. In the end, Chad kind of lost out on getting talked about that much for being so good that a lot of the fans kind of ignored her to kind of build up who they consider to be an underdog. And I've talked about Sharon being an underdog before. And that led to Sharon's victory. So if you think about it, All Stars was not made for Chad Michaels. It was made for Sharon Needles. But because of the way the season ended and the way that people already predicted the winner for it, it ended the opposite way, with Sharon as the ultimate winner and Chad competing on All Stars. And you could say, like, yeah, Sharon, you know, that could have been it also, but Sharon did win 4 challenges, and Chad only won 2. But in my opinion, and this is just a little, is that I always thought that during the Glamazons versus Champion challenge that Chad should have won that over Sharon, because they both did well, but their outfits, like, yeah, Sharon's Elvis look was pretty okay, but it wasn't a complete look, unlike Chad's Versace Medusa look. That golden dress was everything. Like, I love that look. But I do see that she did ultimately do the best overall when it comes to her season. Sharon did. And that may have been it, but I really do feel that the popularity mattered. And that is why Sharon won and why Chad ultimately had to go to All Stars and just destroy the competition. But I'm not disappointed with what we got for this. I do like the idea of Chad and Alaska at this point being in the Hall of Fame, Sharon and the queens that we have as the winners. I'm not that upset. I'm even kind of over Sasha Velour. Like, she's great. Sasha Velour is a great queen. Ultimately, I'm really happy with the way things turned out. And yeah, I just hope that puts into perspective of why All Stars was not made for Chad. It was made for Sharon. So that is it. Feel free to leave a corresponding thumb to whichever emotion you may be feeling right now. Leave me a comment with your feelings on this video or suggestions for future videos, whether they be Drag Race related or not. I make gaming videos on this channel as well, so check those out before you subscribe. And yeah, I love you guys. I'll see you guys next time, and remember to have fun. Bye, guys.